Hey guys, it's koolysmiley, and it is mid-July, and I am once again late on filming a monthly favorites video. But this time I have like some really reasonable reasons for that. A, I went to RTX at the beginning of July, and then B, I got COVID for the second time.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine.
But I digress. Those will clearly go in my July favorites. But right now we are going to talk about my favorite experiences, products I use, and stuff that I did in the month of June. If you guys are new, this is something that we like to do once a month. It's a great way to practice gratitude and remember that good things are still happening in our lives even when we feel depressed, even when things in life are scary and events are unprecedented. I've got a long list, so let's just get into it. First of all, I know this is June favorites, but there are 3 things that happened on the last day of May, and that happened after I had already filmed my May favorites, so I'm going to start with those. So the end of May, I had a wildly magical day. And first and foremost, I made it to Broadway. And when I say that, I mean I was on a billboard on Broadway for a whole entire day. I was told by Elgato, which is actually my stream sponsor. Shout out Elgato. Thank you so much for taking care of me. Elgato said that they wanted to feature me when they were celebrating their anniversary, and I sent them a video answering a few questions in an interview, and they did not tell me where that video was gonna go, and I expected Twitter. But no, I woke up to tweets tagging me in a picture, and this is unfortunately the only picture I got, but you can see in the corner where the building is creasing, you can see that that is my stream setup. That video that I sent Elgato, they put on a billboard on Broadway. So that by far is one of the wildest things I think that has come out of being a content creator, is that I've always wanted to be, I'm gonna cry, oh no, we just started filming this video. I've always wanted to end up on Broadway. I grew up as a musical theater nerd. I did theater professionally for a few years, and if it wasn't for my vocal cord injury, maybe I would still be doing it now. But I always pictured myself at least making it to Broadway, and this wasn't how I pictured it. But dang, is it validating. So thank you so much, Elgato, for making that happen. So this was actually May 27th, I believe, which is the exact same day that Stranger Things Volume 1 of Season 4 came out. So I woke up to that on Twitter that morning, and it was my day off, so I spent the whole day binging the first volume of Season 4's Stranger Things. I fucking loved Stranger Things. I know at this point most of us have already seen volume 1 and 2 because it's already been out, and I won't spoil anything obviously, but just know that in my opinion this is the best season of Stranger Things, and it featured some of the best characters, new and old, and I had a great fucking time. I really, really did. I fucking love Stranger Things. I am newly even more obsessed than I ever was. And the kicker of May 27th, I got a text from my neighbor, and she was asking me to turn my timer on my back porch off, which my lights on my back porch are on a timer. They're like these cute little string lights. Doesn't matter. But anyway, I turned them off because there was a meteor shower, and I watched it, and it is the first time I've ever had the chance to watch a meteor shower. And I always just thought oh yeah, of course it would be cool. Of course that would be neat to watch. But I sat on my hammock in the backyard and seriously just watched these stars just magically skate across the sky. And let me tell you something. At this point in the month, I was on a sober kick. I was trying to kind of dry myself out of alcohol and take care of my mental health and blah, blah, blah. And there was something so magical about experiencing that fully sober and just present. And it just is such a shame that I've missed so many meteor showers up until this point. You know what was mostly magical about it? Is that when my neighbor told me to go outside and look, it was so cloudy. I couldn't see anything. I was kind of disappointed. And then all of a sudden, at the time frame, the window that the meteor shower was supposed to be, it was like magic that the clouds opened up and I just saw these stars racing across the sky. I'm sorry that I'm talking about this so long, but it's never what I pictured a meteor shower to look like. And it was just so poetic and beautiful. And it really reminded me how small we are and how little our lives matter. And maybe that's scary to some people, but for me, God, that's so fucking comforting. My choices about what I do with my body and who I spend my time with, and the choices I make in life, the things I say to people, the stuff that I worry about in the shower hours on end and cry about and stress about, and the conversations that I go over and over that happened years ago in my brain as I'm trying to sleep at night. None of those things matter because we are these like tiny little organisms on this tiny little rock floating in this gigantic universe. Anyway, sorry. Back to the favorites video. How long did I just talk about that? Jesus Christ. And now we're finally getting to June. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Moving on. I just love space, dude. I love space. I think things like that are a nice reminder that we can go easier on ourselves. First thing in June. So you guys know that I like clothes. Yes, that's not news to any of us, especially not anyone that has ever spent a significant time in any of my homes. Something that takes up the majority of my space is clothing. And ever since I moved into this house, it has been a nightmare figuring out my clothing situation because I just love clothes. So I have a lot of them. And I moved into this house with a partner, and part of the reason that I liked this house was the closet space for two separate people. And now that I am one single person living in this home, the closets in the master bedroom make no goddamn sense. Two closets that are physically separated by the bathroom that are long and narrow and kind of claustrophobic don't really make sense for my ADHD brain. And because of that, I would often hang half of my clothes in one closet, half of my clothes in the other closet, and then I would forget that a bunch of the clothes I already own existed because that's just how my ding-dang brain works. And one thing that I have been learning recently is that there is no way around ADHD brain. So you just have to make your living space ADHD friendly. And no matter what I do, those closets never will be. And how does one fix that, you ask? Well, you know, a really odd thing is that I have this room across the hallway that no longer is really used for anything besides storage. And it's storage for things like cosplay and crafting materials that I don't use every day. So they don't need to be in a big room where I can see everything. They would be better off in closet space that I don't really look at that often. And I could take all of my clothes out from these closets that I can't really see into, and I could put them in a room that's nice and open. Are you catching my drift? Did you figure out what we did? Yeah, so Dad came over. We built some clothing racks that we bought, I think, from Amazon. If you guys are interested in those clothing racks, I'll put them in the description below. And yeah, we just made a closet upstairs. There's a little area for me to do my makeup now. There's a mirror set up, and I can see all of my shoes. I can see all of my skirts and dresses and t-shirts and sweaters and cardigans. I can see everything. It doesn't look perfect right now. My plan is to eventually thrift like a cuter looking table for the makeup setup and maybe add some like vines and lighting and scenery to make it look more vintage and girly. But right now, it's just very functional for this neurodivergent bitch. And I love it. I actually recommend this for anybody who is ADHD or neurodivergent watching this video in every aspect of your life. Like, if you have the space to do it, the closet thing is amazing. Do that. But if you don't have the space for closets, just having like a rack that also stands in your bedroom of like clothes that maybe you forget to wear sometimes or the stuff that is seasonal. That's what I did back when I lived with my parents and I only had room for like one rack. I would just put the seasonal stuff on that rack and it helped me so much. When it comes to like your groceries or food, if like your vegetables and fruit kind of get all fucked up because you forget they exist. Well, maybe you're organizing your refrigerator for a neurotypical brain instead of a neurodivergent brain. I could go on a whole spiel about that. If you guys want me to make a video just about making life more ADHD friendly, let me know, and we will do that in the future. Next thing on my list is something that I feel like I've just been stubborn about getting into, and that is Harry Styles music. I was never a One Direction stan, and I guess I just never really got indoctrinated into Harry Style fandom until recently. I mean, I loved Watermelon Sugar, but I recently decided to start going out of my way to listen to Harry's music on Spotify when I'm driving in my car and whatnot. And then As It Was came out. And I am so hyper-focused on that song right now. I don't know what it is. I sat down and I listened to the whole album of Harry's House like twice in a row. And Matilda made me bawl my eyes out. And I couldn't listen to it a second time. I've only listened to it the one time. And I probably won't listen to it again. It was almost like triggering, but beautiful, but triggering. But As It Was is my favorite song on the album. And I know that's such a basic bitch answer, but God, I love that song. Anyway, Harry Styles and his new album, chef's kiss. Okay, the next thing I don't want to talk about too much because it's still hard for me to talk about. If you don't follow my live streams or my social medias that I post on daily, you wouldn't know this, but I think all of you know this. So we're just going to briefly touch on it. I lost someone very important to me in the month of June, and it sucked and it was terrible, and we're going to graze past it. The Rothamels, we lose people in June. I don't know why, but it keeps happening and I'm over it. And it makes the month of June so triggering. I am like starting to get PTSD every year now. But this one hit really hard because she was a mother figure to me and it was difficult. And my relationship with my real mother is rocky and it always has been, but it was significantly harder to deal with at the celebration of life for this wonderful woman. And I had so much anxiety leading up to the day because I knew how difficult it was going to be around my mother. But the reason that this is on my list, the thing that is on my list, is the unlikely support system that I experienced that day. Sometimes it takes really hard events to really see who will step up and support you. And I am so extremely grateful for the people who stood up and held my hand and sat with me and spoke to me and didn't make me feel like a burden on that day. And I know some of you guys watch these videos, so if you're watching this, you know who you are. Thank you so much for... I don't think you know how much you saved me that day. Okay, I'm gonna go wipe my face off. I'm gonna go just... Woo! 1 second! Now that you've seen me try to talk about that, I'm sure you guys can imagine why it's been so difficult for me to get videos out consistently the past month and a half. So I will apologize one last time. And thank you guys for your patience during this unfortunate time in my life. But we move forward. Let's talk about one of my favorite subjects to talk about of all time. You guys know the drill. There's always a new TV show or a new anime series I'm binging. And in the month of June, there was a few. First and foremost, I was actually turned on to the show Murderville on Netflix with Will Arnett. Something really fun about the show is that it is a murder mystery comedy where every character in the show is scripted except for the guest star. And it's almost like a game for the guest star because they must solve a murder. They have 3 suspects to choose from, and they must guess who it is at the end of every episode. It's super fun, especially if you like true crime or improv comedy, because that's exactly what this is. It's like trying to solve a murder while also laughing your ass off and just seeing, like, it's just the stupidest stuff. I think It's like SNL, where sometimes the funniest part is trying to see if the actor will break and laugh, which does happen quite a bit. And every guest star is so fun to watch, even if you don't know who they are, because there's 2 guest stars that I simply didn't know who they were, and they made me laugh my butt off. So if you haven't seen Murderville, definitely check it out. It's absolutely worth a watch. And the next thing that I watched, you guys know that Bo Burnham came out with Inside on Netflix a few months ago, but he actually on YouTube released an hour-long outtake reel, which wasn't just a reel, it kind of just felt like Inside Part 2. It was the stuff that he didn't end up putting in the first part, including some new songs we hadn't heard, which are great, like 5 Years, which is like a song he writes from the perspective of a couple that's been together for 5 years. Super funny. Chicken Song, which made me very emotional, but also was his original, I believe, ending song to Inside. And then he had like an alternate version of All Eyes on Me. Anyway, it was very interesting to watch, very eye-opening to how frustrating the process of making a special by yourself must have been for him, but I loved it. I also really loved the alternate version of All Eyes on Me. I think I prefer it over the original. And then the last thing that I watched in the month of June that's worth noting is an anime that I binged in 2 days. I don't know if in Japanese it's called this. I think there is like a translated title, but on Netflix in English, the anime is called Erased. So I just looked it up online. The manga's title actually translates to The Town Where Only I Am Missing. Not what I thought. But anyway, this anime series was super interesting, and it's not like anything that I've really personally experienced in my small knowledge of anime, because, you know, I only recently got into watching anime television, but it gave me like film noir vibes. Like it was a murder mystery type deal. What I can tell you is that the main character has an ability to retry moments in life immediately after they happen, but he doesn't get to pick and choose what those moments are. That added on to a murder mystery storyline, it was just so interesting that I could not stop watching. So I ended up binging it in 2 days. I loved every second of it. Definitely, if you decide to watch this, make sure to look up trigger warnings ahead of time or ask a friend to for you so you can avoid spoilers, because when it comes to mysteries, once it's spoiled for you, it's kind of ruined. But I loved it. I think this is a series that will actually stick with me for a very long time. And it's definitely a series I will recommend to people from here on out. And of course, we always have a few things to celebrate in the month of June. June is the anniversary of my coming out on social media. It is Pride Month. And it is also my Twitch partner anniversary. And this year was my 2-year anniversary on Twitch, and we decided to celebrate with my very first official subathon. If you guys are not live stream watchers, you might not know what a subathon is, but basically what it is every time somebody pays to subscribe to my Twitch channel or someone is gifted a sub, there is time added to a timer, and that timer tells you how long you gotta stream for. And we decided that we weren't going to cap it for the first 24 hours. And I ended up streaming for almost 2 days. I took a break because at one point my computer overheated and I used that time to sleep. And then I came back immediately after waking up. I really, really have been scared to do a subathon for a while because I am neurodivergent and I work off of spoon theory. If you don't know what that is, definitely look it up on Google. But, you know, if I run low on spoons, I end my streams. And I was worried that that would happen during a subathon, but I planned ahead. We meal prepped. I always had snacks to eat. I had things to do, incentives to play around with. We were doing fun games. We had groups of people on standby to play games with. There was so much going on that I didn't have time to be bored. I didn't have time to feel tired. I just genuinely had so much fun from the first moment it started until the end. And I was so shocked. I was genuinely so shocked that I was able to have so much fun for so long. The recovery process, of course, I basically slept for 2 days straight afterwards, but man, oh man, it was worth it, and I can't wait to do another one. Also, I always have my gratitude journal that I fill out on stream. You guys know this, but we had incentives where basically if you added a certain amount of subs, you would get your own page just to yourself, and also donations of $100 or more, which I didn't expect to happen, but it did. So I just wanted to show you, like, this is all of the pages that got filled out during the subathon. Just pages and pages of Lisa Frank stickers and bright colors, obviously for pride, and good vibes, reasons to smile, and just wonderful people and members of the community who make every single day of my life so much brighter. I'm just so grateful. If you guys saw the subathon, if you guys watched at all, if you were participating in any sort of way or lurking, just know that I'm so grateful for you, and I hope you guys had as much fun as I did. And thank you. I'm very, very grateful. Something I absolutely cannot forget is one of the coolest packages I've ever received in the mail. I have been a YouTube watcher and fangirl since middle school. It is the whole reason I became a YouTuber, is because of YouTubers before me that inspired me to make my own content and find my own way in life the way that they did. And of course, some of the people that I watched before becoming friends with them were Julian and his fiance, Jenna, obviously. Now I get to be lucky enough that Julian is my friend, and I get to play games with him, and I get to receive packages from him of nail polish that he's made with Hollow Taco. Out of any of my streamer friends, this is like the coolest collaboration any of them have done. I'm so proud of Julian, and I know he's so proud of himself for just the dope idea behind this, the color palette, everything about this. There's so much to be proud of, but I'm just so grateful that I'm lucky enough to be friends with someone like Julian. But we did a painting my nails stream. I never do my own nails. As you guys can tell, there's no way I could do this on my own. But I decided to try painting my nails on stream just for Julian. And if you guys want to see that VOD, that still exists on my Twitch channel as well. I love it so much. Thank you again, Julian, for the sweetest little surprise. And the last thing on my list is a video game. It is a video game I have been looking forward to since Until Dawn came out. Since I finished Until Dawn and beat it, I said, I need more games like this. And they finally came out with another full-length game that is in Until Dawn style called The Quarry. And I am obsessed, okay? You guys are going to see a few playthroughs of it on my channel because I've decided that I love the game so much, I'm going to play it a bunch of different times and play it a bunch of different ways, so you guys can see all of the cool outcomes and play styles that come with it. If you guys don't know what The Quarry is, it is a choice-based, story-based horror video game. I will not explain a whole lot more because one of the beautiful things about these style of games is learning what the monsters are, what the horrors are, and what the characters are like and whatnot. So if you guys would like to see me play The Quarry, I have a playlist that will be linked in the description below of all of the playthroughs that I will be doing and releasing to you guys in time. What I will say is the game was super fun. There were so many wonderful gray area choices to make. I spent most of the game screaming at the screen because I was mad at myself or mad at the characters or confused or frustrated or scared, and it was just an emotional roller coaster in the best way possible. And I'm so excited that I still feel like I haven't gotten all the replayability out. Yeah, great game. Check it out if you haven't already. I say this at the end of almost every single monthly favorites video, but I am so grateful I filmed this. I feel much better reminding myself about the good things that have been happening in my life. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and if you enjoyed it, Don't forget to like the video. It helps so much, and I would appreciate it if you left a comment letting me know some of the favorite things that you experienced in the month of June. If you still remember, I know we're a little late. You can also let me know your favorite things that are happening so far in July, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. There's also a bell button you can hit so you can get notified anytime I post new content on here. And don't forget that I'm always posting on all these other social medias. If you guys would like to see me outside of YouTube, follow me in any of these places. And of course, I will see you guys on the tubes later. Let's talk about our favorite shit together, friends.